All right, let's talk about JavaScript operators. You know, the basics. Plus, minus, equals. You use them every single day. But what if I told you there's this whole other set of operators, a kind of secret toolkit, hiding right under your nose, a set that can seriously level up your code, making it faster, safer, and well, just better.
And speaking of things hiding in plain sight, take the humble plus sign. You use it all the time, right? But do you really know what's going on under the hood? It's kind of got this double life that can trip up even the pros. We're going to get to that, but first, let's dive a little deeper.
So, here's the plan. First, we'll unlock some serious power with Bitwise Operators. Then, we'll put on our detective hats and learn how to check data types. After that, we'll unmask that sneaky plus sign. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into your brand new coding toolkit. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, part 1, Bitwise power. Now, Bitwise might sound a little scary, but don't worry. It's really all about talking directly to the computer in its own language, the language of ones and zeros. This lets us do some things, especially math, way faster. It's like having a direct hotline to the processor.
Let's kick things off with a really interesting one, XOR, that little caret symbol. It has a super simple job. It looks at two numbers, breaks them down into bits, and for each pair of bits, it asks one question. Are you different? If the answer is yes, you get a 1. If they're the same, you get a 0. That's it. So check this out. We take the number 5, which is 0101 in binary, and the number 3, which is 0011. Now, we go bit by bit. The first bits are 1 and 1. They're the same, so we get a 0. Next, 0 and 1. They're different, so we get a 1. Then 1 and 0, different again, so another 1. And finally, 0 and 0. They're the same, so a 0. Put it together and you get 0110, which is the number 6. Pretty cool, huh?
Okay, so comparing bits is one thing, but what about actually moving them? This is where things get really wild, especially if you want lightning-fast multiplication and division without actually doing multiplication and division.
So let's go back to our friend, the number 5. There it is in binary. Now imagine we could just pick up all those bits and slide them over to the left. What do you think would happen? Well, using those two little arrows, we shift every bit 2 spots to the left. The empty spaces on the right just get filled with zeros, and boom, we get a new number, 20. And here's the trick. Shifting left once is the same as multiplying by 2. So shifting left twice is like multiplying by 4. And what's 5 times 4? 20. It's a super efficient shortcut. All right, so if we can shift left, you can probably guess what's next. Let's start with that 20 we just made and see what happens when we go in the other direction. Using the arrows pointing right, we slide all the bits 1 spot over. And just like that, 20 becomes 10. A right shift is an incredibly fast way to do integer division by 2. It just chops the number in half and throws away any remainder. Simple, clean, and super fast. Okay, so Bitwise stuff is amazing for performance. But, you know, sometimes our biggest concern isn't speed, it's safety. So many bugs in JavaScript pop up because we're not sure what kind of data we're dealing with. Is it a number, a string, an array? These next operators are going to turn you into a type detective, so you can stop those bugs in their tracks. You've probably seen typeof before. It's great for the simple stuff. String, number, Boolean. Easy. But when you get into more complex things, like objects, arrays, or dates, typeof gets a little fuzzy. That's when you need to bring in the specialist, instanceof. It doesn't just look at the type. It checks the object's entire family history to see exactly what it is. So picture this. You've got this variable, and you think it's an array. You want to loop over it, but if you're wrong, your whole program could crash. This is where instanceof saves the day. You're basically asking JavaScript, hey, was this thing actually built from the official array blueprint? And JavaScript gives you a clear, confident answer. True. Now you know for sure that it's safe to treat it like an array. It's such a simple check, but man, it can save you from some serious headaches later on.
And here's why it's so important. If you use typeof on a new date object, all JavaScript tells you is object. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? An array is an object, a custom class is an object, it could be anything. But instanceof cuts right through the noise and tells you exactly what you need to know. Yep, this is a date.
All right, it's time. Let's get back to that mystery we started with. The operator you use more than any other, the one with the secret identity. Let's pull back the curtain on the plus sign.
And here it is, the double agent in action. On the left, it's a normal, friendly math operator. It sees two numbers, 20 and 5, and it adds them up to 25. No surprises there. But on the right, everything changes. As soon as it sees that one of the values is a string, it completely changes its mission. It's no longer about addition. It's about concatenation. It just smushes them together. And this is the one rule you have to remember. If even one thing in a plus operation is a string, JavaScript decides the whole thing is about strings. It will politely turn everything else into a string and just join them all together. That's why you can take hello, add a space, and then add the number 2025, and you get a perfectly normal sentence. It's a feature, not a bug, but you gotta know it's there.
So there you have it. We've gone from low-level bit shifting to high-level type checking and uncovered a common gotcha. Let's wrap all this up into a handy toolkit you can start using right away.
So let's recap your new skills. You now know how to use Bitwise Operators when you need that extra bit of speed. You've got instanceof in your back pocket to write safer, more reliable code. And you're now fully aware of the concatenation trap, so that tricky plus sign will never surprise you again.
You know, this is really just scratching the surface. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other simple, everyday pieces of code that we use without a second thought are hiding this kind of surprising depth and power? The only way to find out is to keep digging.